So if you're buying silver and gold for the reasons I'm about to tell you in today's video, maybe it's time to stop. So I think this will come as no surprise to the majority of you, but the most popular videos on my channel are the ones where I talk about silver and gold. And silver primarily, but gold does really well as well. And I get a lot of comments on my videos. In fact, I got an email the other day from YouTube. It was a year in review video, but at the bottom, it talked about some all-time stats. And apparently, according to YouTube, since I formed this channel, I've received over 3 million, million with an M comments. Now, between me and you, I think that number is kind of high. I think it's possibly including live stream comments as well. But either way, every time I refresh YouTube, I get 40 or 50 more comments. It's crazy how quickly they come through, and I do my absolute best to read them all and respond to them all. But I just can't. I do try and I see a lot of them, but I don't see them all. But something I've been seeing a lot of, especially on videos about gold and silver, you know, whether it be when I'm calling coin shops and getting premiums, or when I'm doing online research to get premiums, or when I'm trying to buy and sell with coin shops, things like that. One of the most common negative comments that I get is how people say that gold and silver investing, or investing in gold and silver, has been an absolute nightmare for them. It's the worst investment they've ever made, and things like that. And so at the beginning of this video, I said that if you were stacking gold and silver for the reason I'm about to tell you, you should probably stop, and I'm going to stand by it, and that is for investment. Now, we are going to deep dive into that and talk more about it, but before we do, I want to remind you not to forget to make sure you are subscribed, because we are at almost 100,000 subscribers, and when we get there, we're going to have our biggest silver giveaway ever. And also check out this giveaway from today's video sponsor. Did you know that right now SD Bullion is giving away an entire sealed monster box of 2022 Silver Eagles? Yes, you heard that right. That is 500 ounces of 1 ounce Silver Eagles. They are giving them away right now. If you would like your chance to win, make sure you head to sdbullion.com/silverseeker, or click the link in the description below. And thank you to SD Bullion for sponsoring today's video. So when I say investing in gold and silver, I don't mean investing in it for your future, but I mean investing in it as a way to make more fiat currency. And that's what a lot of people look at gold and silver as. They invest in gold and silver to try and produce more fiat currency. But I think a lot of you know that that's not the reason. That's not the primary reason that I have a personal stack of gold and silver. I have a personal stack of gold and silver because I'm not very fond of the US dollar. Now, I'm not arguing that it's not important, and I've said this in many videos, but I want to make it very clear, just in case you're a first-time viewer of this channel, this is the first time listening, I 100% recognize the importance of the US dollar. You need it to pay your bills, you need it to buy your gas, you need it to pretty much do anything in American society that you want to do. Unfortunately, the majority of your, gas stations, for example, are not going to take your gold and silver as payment for their gas, nor is your mortgage company, your landlord, if you're renting, whatever it may be. So there is a very important aspect of the US dollar that we need to pay attention to, that we need to respect. But at the same time, we also are bound by a US dollar that is printed into oblivion. And at this time, the US is literally over $30 trillion in debt. Another thing is, and I've talked about this in other videos, is that there is the looming threat of CBDCs, which is central bank digital currencies. Now, a little bit earlier today, I was actually watching a video by Salivate Metal. If you don't know who Salivate Metal is, he's another YouTuber that I like to watch, and he has a great channel. If you haven't been over to his channel yet, I'll put a link down in the description below. Make sure you go over there and check him out, give him a sub. Definitely deserves it, and he is a wealth of information when it comes to stacking gold and silver. And he was talking about CBDCs and an article that was recommended to him by one of his subscribers about, I believe it was Nigeria, but don't quote me on this, on the country, but basically a country in that area of the world that is now limiting the withdrawal of money from like ATMs and from banks to just $45. In other words, you cannot go to an ATM, no matter how much money you have in the bank, you are not allowed to go to an ATM and withdraw more than $45. And the reason they're doing that is because their country is very much pushing their central bank digital currency, or their version of a CBDC, their digital currency. And in order to incentivize their population, their public, to use it, they're limiting the amount of cash that can be withdrawn from banks. They're even putting limits on businesses, limits from banks themselves, not just ATMs. And that is really scary to think about. Now, I understand that that's not near as a developed country as, say, we are, or Great Britain, or some of the other more developed nations on the planet, but it'd be foolish to think that something like that wouldn't be able to happen here. I mean, it wasn't even 100 years ago where the government was confiscating gold from its citizens. We weren't allowed to own gold. So to think that that's something that can't happen again is foolish. I think it is definitely something that we need to worry about. And so when I'm stacking gold and silver, when I'm putting gold and silver in my personal stack, I'm not putting it in my personal stack to make more fiat currency. I'm putting it in my personal stack because I don't believe in the US dollar and I worry about things like that. Yes, the US dollar is important, but the government continues to print it into oblivion. Ever since we went off the gold and silver standard, we have plunged more and more and more into debt. We have an insanely high deficit that, our kids, and their kids, and maybe some of their kids, plus their grandkids after that, will never be able to repay. It's absolutely atrocious how much money this government continues to print, waste, and spend. To spend and waste, I think spend and waste kind of goes hand in hand with the government, but you know what I mean. So in order for our government to continue to spend more money, or waste more money, if you will, to support their spending habits, they need to get more of it. And they get it through one of two ways. I mean, it's either A, they tax us more, which I think any of us watching this video right now will agree 100% that we are overtaxed as is. It's not even funny. And there are a lot of people out there that want to tax the U.S. citizens more, which is ridiculous. We were being taxed way less when the Boston Tea Party happened than we are today. So it's crazy how much they take from us at this point. But the only other way for them to get it is to create more of it. And between me and you, and if you think about this really quick, creating more US dollars is just another way to tax the US public. And you're going to ask me why. Maybe some of you already get this like immediately when you hear me say that. They do it through creating more money, but creating more money lowers the value of the money that we already have. Therefore, it is a tax. Inflation is still a tax. The government continues to print more money. You got to remember, guys, regardless of our $30 trillion debt, the government right now, the deficit is $1.2 trillion. That means the government is spending or wasting $1.2 trillion more than it's taking in through tax revenue. So in order to support that spending, and I've already said this, but in order to support that spending, they need more money. And they're going to do that. They're doing that through creating more of it out of thin air. And that is lowering the value of the money that we already have. Remember, something is only valuable if it's scarce and desirable, right? Well, the US dollar, I'm not going to argue that it's not desirable. It definitely is. There's a million gazillion people out there that want more US dollars. But it is becoming quite a bit less scarce, and that's why everything's starting to cost us more. And, the CPI numbers just came out, and it was 7.1%, and there were a lot of analysts that are excited because they expected it to be 7.3%, now it's 7.1%, and everyone's all excited. You saw gold and silver shoot up today when that announcement came out. You might be watching this tomorrow, but you get the point. Why is everyone excited about 7.1%, especially when me and you know that if you walk into a grocery store today, it is definitely more than 7.1%. You were paying more than 7.1% more for your groceries today than you were this time last year. So that is what my personal stack of gold and silver is for. It's not as an investment to make more fiat currency. There are a ton of different ways that you can make money that are better than putting money into gold and silver. If your point of investing in gold and silver is to make more fiat currency, there are better ways to do it. You can even buy paper silver and gold if you really believe they're going to go up, but your intent is just to get more more money in your hand, more fiat currency in your hand. You can buy P-Silv all day and you don't have to worry about the premiums, and it's easier to buy and sell. But if you buy gold and silver like I do, you're buying it because you don't have a whole lot of faith in US dollar, and the US dollar is a very infinite currency. They can make as much of it as they want because it's a fiat currency. It's not backed by a commodity such as gold and silver. And while gold and silver can still be mined out of the earth today, and more of it will come out of the ground, there is still a finite amount of it on this earth. And I'm definitely more interested in having my wealth in real money, which is gold and silver, the finite gold and silver that, again, like I just said, there's more of out there, but there is not an infinite amount like there is in the US dollar. And that's where I'll continue to put my personal stack, and that's why I'll continue to add to my personal stack as time goes on. And as I get older, and if someday I pass away unexpectedly or whatever it may be, and this just goes to my kids and they go out and they spend it, or they go out and they turn it into fiat currency so they can spend it, to buy a house or a car or whatever it may be, good on them. I'll be watching down from above, and I'll be very happy for them, and I hope they do what makes them happy with it. But for me, I definitely would much prefer to have this, and that's what I'll continue to do. So let me know what you think down below. I would be interested in knowing your thoughts. Guys, if you haven't done so yet, like I said earlier, don't forget to subscribe, and check out this video right above this one that is a video where me, Rob Raven, and the Coin Crew actually bought $150 mystery packs, and you should see what we got inside. It was pretty cool. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.